So today I'm going to go over the 3 most important things to focus on when starting any weight loss journey. Not only are these essential to losing weight, but becoming resistant to weight regain. Think of this wheel representing your hunger. Let's call it the wheel of satiety. Now, when you fill this wheel, you feel full. Unfortunately, when we think of hunger, we usually only think of calories, and therefore we only use calories to fill the wheel. And as a consequence, we gain weight. We then reduce calories in an effort to lose weight, which can be successful, but that breaks the wheel and the intense hunger returns, making us feel miserable. Eventually, we go back to satisfying hunger with calories and gain any of the weight we lost back. It's a vicious cycle, and it's one of the biggest reasons we yo-yo diet. But calories are not the only thing that we can use to fill this wheel of satiety, and nor it should be. I want to explain to you the 3 biggest tools that you should be using to fill your wheel of satiety so it's not as occupied by calories. And in fact, at the end, I'm going to show you how to incorporate these tools permanently so you can maintain your weight loss for as long as you want. The first way to accomplish this is to leverage your diet's weight. The weight of your diet is independent of its calorie count, and I'm going to use an outrageous example to explain it. Let's imagine eating celery because it has a very low number of calories. I know it's gross, but stick with me. 2 stalks of celery have 15 calories. If you were to eat a measly 300 calories of celery, you would have to eat 40 stalks of celery. This is 10. Just think of the pressure this would put on your stomach. You would feel physically uncomfortable, and the celery would look repulsive. That is a biological signal, and it's caused by the weight of the celery stretching your stomach. You see, your stomach has nerves around it, creatively named stretch receptors, that send signals when they stretch. And as the ones around your stomach stretch, they send signals to your brain that cause you to release hormones to make you feel full, so you don't eat 40 stalks of celery. I mean, think about it. Biologically, you have to have a way to slow down eating after a certain volume, or you would unknowingly eat until you physically ruptured your stomach. It's a built-in biological mechanism that we want to learn how to leverage, and the best part is you don't need to eat 40 stalks of celery to activate it. Research clearly shows that when you increase the weight of someone's diet without them knowing, still within a reasonable calorie range, they stop eating sooner. Yet, many people don't properly utilize this mechanism when they try to lose weight, and in fact, they often make it worse because when we start a weight loss diet, we tend to just lower the amount of food on our plate and do nothing else. And this actually reduces the amount of weight in all of our meals, making them less filling than before. What you need to do is you need to add back in the weight you removed, and you even need to increase the weight of the meal compared to what it was previously. You use foods that have high weight and low calories in place of foods that have high calories and low weight. And over time, your diet will have less calories, but it's still going to be very filling. This is often referred to as calorie density, and to calculate it, you can always divide a food item's calories by the number of grams that it weighs. Based on research, foods and meals that have a calorie density at or below 1.4 calories per gram are much more filling. Foods that have more water and fiber have more weight, and foods that have more added sugar and added fats have more calories. Typically, your ultra-processed foods provide a lot of calories, and whole foods provide a lot of weight. But any food potentially has a more weight, less calorie version, even your ultra-processed foods. I know what you're thinking, you should never promote eating ultra-processed foods, but this weight effect isn't small. It's worth for those foods to see if you can find high weight, low calorie versions. There are many examples of studies, but let's go over one I like a lot. They took 18 women and over 6 days had them consume diets with different calorie densities. What's important is, unknowingly to them, over the course of the 6 days, the women consumed the same amount of weight of food each day. Yet, the calories they ate varied depending on the calorie density of the diet. On the high calorie, low weight day, they consumed about 1,800 calories. On the middle weight, middle calories day, they consumed about 1,500 calories. And on the low calorie, high weight day, they consumed about 1,350 calories, all while reporting the same levels of hunger and fullness before and after meals across all days. And so this is just one example of many that clearly show the weight of your diet matters and it can be used to your advantage. So that's the first key focus. But before we go into how you can easily apply this to your own diet, we have to learn about focus number 2 because it stacks with focus number 1. The second key focus to lower our need for calories is protein. Countless studies have shown that when we get people to increase their protein intake, they eat less, and often they lose weight. But why? There are 2 big reasons, and some smaller ones we won't go over in this video. The first is because protein is the most filling macronutrient calorie for calorie. This means if I gave you 300 calories of fat, 300 calories of carbohydrate, or 300 calories of protein, on average, the protein would make you feel the most full and satiated. And countless clinical studies have shown this. For example, when 2 different weight loss studies comparing the effects of a high protein diet or a low protein diet were done, when protein intake was increased in place of either fat or carbohydrate, the participants ate less food and they lost weight. And that's not because protein has a low calorie density. Pure protein has the same calorie density as pure carbohydrate at 4 calories per gram. And swapping protein for carbohydrates appears to show a significant effect at reducing your hunger. No. Your stomach has specific receptors in it, trying to detect components of the protein you get from your food. And when activated, they send signals back to your brain to release satiety hormones that make you feel full. But why does your body put emphasis on protein? Because we get these things from protein called essential amino acids. They are called essential because your body can't make them. You have to get them from your diet. And they are essential building blocks for so many essential things your body has to produce to survive. So it makes sense that this would play a big role in your hunger and appetite. The second reason protein is so useful is because of something called the thermogenic effect of food. You see, when you eat food, it's not in the chemical forms needed for your body to utilize it. Your body actually has to convert it, break it down, use it, and store it. That process costs energy. And this cost of energy is different across fats, carbohydrates, and protein. To give you a comparison, you burn around 1 to 3% of calories from fat, 5 to 10% of calories from carbohydrate, but a whopping 25 to 30% of calories from protein from the thermogenic effect of food. So protein has this amazing dual effect. Not only does 100 calories of protein make you feel more full compared to carbs and fat, but it also is just metabolized at a higher rate. And so if you stack these effects with calorie density, you can see how much of a role this can play in maintaining your appetite and your calorie intake. A good target is to aim for about 30 to 35% of your calories coming from protein. Focus number 1 and 2 is important because it's going to help you right now. Feel full right now. But focus number 3 is so important because of what it does for your future. The third focus is to eat more fiber. And you might know that fiber already helps you with focus number 1 because it provides food weight without the calories. But the big reason we put extra focus on fiber is because it takes care of your gut. Your gut contains bacteria that are incredibly important for your long-term health, especially your hunger. It's called your microbiome, and these little guys are in the trillions, and you have more of them than you actually do cells. I mean, not by a lot, it's almost a 1-to-1 ratio, but it's still pretty impressive. You see, these little guys don't just sit there. They actually release metabolites that enter your bloodstream and affect you. It means if you take care of them, they're going to take care of you. But if you don't take care of them, they're not going to take care of you. And one of the ways that they take care of you is through the release of these important metabolites. The best example we know of currently are called short-chain fatty acids, butyrate, acetate, propionate. You can forget the names. But countless studies have shown that the release of these short-chain fatty acids have insanely positive effects on your short-term and long-term health, and this includes your appetite. We could do an entire video on this topic, but let's keep it brief. You see, not all gut bacteria produce these important metabolites like short-chain fatty acids. Only some do. And whether or not your gut will be a home to the short-chain fatty acid producing bacteria, you have to feed them the right kind of food from your diet. And spoiler alert, the best food you can feed them is fiber. Each time you eat, just picture these little microbes running around to gobble up the fiber, and then they send out these important metabolites as a thank you. And it's a big benefit. To put it into context, researchers have developed what's called a fecal microbiota transplant. It's a little gross, but stick with me. They basically found that if you take some of these healthy promoting gut bacteria from a healthy person and you transfer it into someone that has obesity through their feces, I don't know the best way to say it, but it is what it is. But anyway, they found that the obese individuals that received the healthy bacteria improved their metabolic health and even lost weight. Now, in these studies, this effect doesn't last on its own forever. And this is important. That's because your gut bacteria are a constant reflection of your diet. You can give someone a healthy set of bacteria, but if they don't provide the proper nourishment to those bacteria through fiber, those bacteria won't last. But you don't need a fecal microbiota transplant to get these good bacteria back. All you need to do is increase the fiber content of your diet. But this shift doesn't happen overnight. It can take a few weeks to even a few months, and it does require consistency. And while research around the microbiome is still in its infancy, the benefits are becoming quite clear. Use fiber to build a colony that will enhance your weight loss and act as a barrier to weight regain. Women should aim for about 30 to 35 grams per day, and men 40 to 45 grams per day. But honestly, any amount of fiber is better than no amount of fiber. It's not black and white, it's a scale. So the more fiber you include into your diet, the more of these good health-promoting bacteria you're going to have. So this might have felt like a lot, but it really breaks down into 3 simple things. First, increase the weight of your diet without the calories, decreasing its calorie density, making your meals better at expanding your stomach. 2, increase the proportion of protein in your diet, the most filling macronutrient. Aim for about 30 to 35%. And 3, increase the fiber in your diet to promote the growth of the health-promoting bacteria that will make you more resistant to weight regain. Individually, these are all useful tools, but putting them together stacks their effects, making losing weight much easier and regaining that weight more difficult. It's the short play plus the long play at the same time. The key is implementing it in a way that feels sustainable. So let's walk through a realistic example so you can see how to apply these concepts to your own diet. Let's take a basic bagel with cream cheese. Large 4.5-inch bagel with 2 tablespoons of cream cheese, 1 tablespoon per slice, is about 450 calories. However, it has a calorie density of 2.8 calories per gram, so only 14% protein at 16 grams, and provides almost no fiber. So it basically fails our entire checklist. Now, if we took the usual dietary approach with a focus to only cut calories and only ate half the bagel as we usually do, yes, we cut calories, but we also cut the weight, we cut the protein, and the fiber content of the meal, which was already non-existent basically. So while this meal was already bad at filling you up, it just got worse. And to top it off, you're likely forcing yourself into a calorie deficit, making this a recipe to feel miserable. Instead, let's apply our 3 concepts to this meal to make it work better for us. I always start with swaps and inclusions, and as best as you can, keep the identity of the meal the same.
Identity theft is not a joke, Jim.
So, can we improve the bagel with another brand? Always see if there's a brand that sells a version that hits the 3 concepts better than what you currently eat. I found a brand, Live Carb Smart, I have no sponsors for videos, that creates a high fiber, low calorie bagel as they found a way to replace starch with fiber. This new bagel contains only 130 calories. At the same time, it also provides a lot of fiber to feed the gut, and it still maintains 16 grams of protein. But because we want to still enjoy the meal, let's keep our 2 tablespoons of cream cheese. This is now 230 calories, but we want to add in more weight than before, right? So let's not stop there. I'm going to add in 1 cup of strawberries, adding 80 calories, but 260 grams of weight. But we can go even further and add in a source of protein. For this meal, a light and fit Greek yogurt fits perfectly. This adds another 80 calories and 150 grams of weight. That does bring the total to 390 calories, but we now are at 520 grams of weight, 30 grams of protein, and 30 grams of fiber. Originally, we had a 450 calorie bagel with cream cheese that provided 160 grams of weight, 16 grams of protein, and almost no fiber. 450 calories is actually not bad for a meal, But this original meal does very little to keep us feeling full and carry us to the next meal. It causes hunger and cravings to rise more quickly during the day, leading to a higher calorie intake for lunch and probably dinner. For 60 calories less, you get to continue eating bagels with cream cheese, but in a meal that is just incredibly more filling and nutritious. This is a sustainable change. It didn't require extra cooking, and it didn't really require extra prep. Now, if you want to see how to do this at an advanced level, check out my social media pages. I love guilty pleasure food. Mac and cheese, pancakes, cheesecake, brownies, the works. I create recipes that leverage these 3 points of focus to the max, and I share them for free on my social media pages, the ones listed above. Each video shows the ingredients, amounts, directions, and a step-by-step video that guides you through making it, all for free and right there. These are more than just low-calorie recipes. I ensure that the calorie density of each dish is below the published breakpoint of 1.4 calories per gram, at or above 30% protein, and when possible, packed with fiber. The important part is that they all still taste high quality. I love dessert, and I don't want to give it up. Check it out and let me know what you think. Look, nutrition can feel really complicated. There are hundreds of ways to improve your diet, but step 1, let's just focus on naturally reducing your hunger. It's going to make every other aspect of your journey a lot easier. Ask me your questions in the comments. Tell me what other topics you're interested in learning about. Like and subscribe to hear from me again. Cheers.